So I need to raid you over real quick, right? I thought you were gonna like bring me in or whatever.
No, you said.
All right, bet. All
You
right, hold
just
on.
did that.
I
I'll
wasn't
raid you so
ready.
you can. I wasn't ready. You said
I
yes, and I
wasn't
said, "Are
ready.
you
Oh
ready?"
yeah, yeah. Wait.
I got you.
All right. Am I still live?
Yes.
Mm, cool. All right, cool. We keeping all of it too. We keeping all of it. This is what we got going on. All right, y'all. First of all, thank y'all for being here for the second episode of the FNG podcast. We got such amazing feedback last time. A lot of y'all, I sent the videos to some of you all directly looking for your personal feedback. And the feedback was amazing, man. I definitely appreciate everyone who took the time to listen to the podcast, review the podcast, give us feedback on the podcast, and help us improve and grow. It appears as if this is going to be a thing. So we appreciate all of you guys' support. Definitely shout out to the FNG community, everyone involved. Definitely shout out to Big Mama Ginger for uh, launching this with me, for going on this journey with me. Everyone else who's involved, man. The community is an amazing community. We genuinely appreciate you guys, your support. It allows us to open these doors that other communities just aren't opening. You know, we're proud of that. We're definitely very, very proud of being the community that we are. And we're attempting to do some trailblazing and some innovating and some creative things. And we appreciate you guys being here on the journey with us and WFNG. So this week, we are going to be extending the conversation based upon some of you guys' feedback, some of you guys' responses, some of the things that you guys say hit close to home for you guys. We're going to be moving forward with that, and we're going to be touching on some new topics. So tonight we're going to be discussing the difference between male and female depression, um, and as related to gaming. And we're going to be discussing gaming and relationships a little bit. So these seem to be very interesting topics within the community based upon you guys' feedback, things like that. So we're excited. We've been excited this week to bring you this episode, bring you these topics and things like that. So we're gonna get directly into it. I'm gonna bring Ginger on, and we're gonna get started. WFNG.
Oh, hello. Fancy meeting
Well,
you here.
hello. Fancy meeting you here, ma'am. How you
Fancy
doing,
meeting
Miss
you
Ginger?
here. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just going to send you a copy of this because I know you probably lost it. That's a big
Okay.
copy.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So,
Of
again,
course.
just really quickly, if you guys don't know, Ginger is the operations manager of FNG. She makes sure that we, the day
Again?
to day, again, what?
He said they can't hear or hear me, but I see my mic moving.
They can't hear you on the. One second, check. Let me see if I can get a sound check real quick.
You are low. Oh, let me turn it up. How's that? Let me put it up to my lips. I think you guys be telling me that just so I'll put this microphone up to my mouth. That
Why
should be
am I?
better, I'm hoping. I was trying to prevent because my headphones are so loud sometimes. Maybe W Mags. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. I can already tell.
It's gonna be a fun
This is going to be a fun one. I can already
one.
tell.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how is it now? Is the volume better now?
I'm hoping. We're just going to put it right here. What up? I feel like it's better.
Cool.
Okay.
Mm, all right, cool. So back to glazing ginger a little bit, y'all.
Or whatever.
Ginger is the operations manager of the community. She does an amazing job with the day to days of running the community, things like that. She makes sure that all of the ideas and all the things that I think about that I'm too lazy to do, she makes sure that they get done. So shout out to Ginger and thank you for joining us today. How you doing today?
I am having a better day than I have been for a few, so I'm doing good.
You're
Hanging in
having
there.
a better day than you
Having a
had.
better day, yes, yes. So if you guys
Okay, so
like, I've been trying these meds, right? But
right.
yeah, that was not it. So Ginger flushed that shit last night.
Well, Ginger, flush that shit. So tell us, what about the meds, man? What kind of meds? What's up? What's the meds
So,
for?
like, everybody knows Ginger's got emotional issues or whatever, and she'll cry on a random Saturday night to her stream. You know what I mean? So,
Right,
in therapy and in a few conversations with some close friends, Ginger had decided to give some meds a try, and they recommended Zoloft, and I have never had Zoloft. Like, I've taken Prozac once, you know what I mean? Like, I've taken Wellbutrin, and all that shit did was make me quit smoking. Like, it did nothing for depression. So yeah, the Zoloft, that was wild. So his first statement about it was, yeah, we normally tell people only take half,
right,
and I'm gonna tell you to take a whole one. And I was like,
right,
okay.
right.
So come home, I eat like a wrap, like half of a wrap, and take this pill, and then like within an hour I feel like I don't even want to lift my arms. Like, I felt so sedated, and I felt so emotional, like overly emotional. It was really, really wild.
Right,
And it did not get better the next day. You know what I mean?
right,
So I tried to cut it down to the half a pill. Like, I had called and asked if that was okay, and they were like, yeah. So they definitely, definitely gave me permission to stop taking them if it wasn't my cup of tea. So that's exactly
okay,
what the
cool.
hell I did. So
Okay, all right, that's cool. That's cool. You excuse me, you covered a couple of interesting topics there. So, you were taking this medication, they were giving it to you. They said that they normally recommend half a dose, but hey, take this whole dose right here.
yeah. Don't make me sound extra crazy right
No,
now, bro.
well,
Wait. Wait,
I'm
where are
not
you
trying to make you
going
do
with
it. No,
this?
I'm
Come
not trying
on.
to make
Hold
you
on.
sound.
Pause. Pause.
Yeah, okay, all right, go ahead. so but when they did, you weren't really feeling the effects of the medicine that they were.
No. Mm-mm, not at all.
Okay, so the effects were definitely not worth the it wasn't a fair trade basically for you to take the bad.
Absolutely not.
I understand
No.
that. I understand that. All right, cool. So another thing that you discussed, you said that you personally suffer from depression. Is that right?
I do. I do. So I currently suffer from severe PTSD, BPD, severe anxiety, and ADHD, and a few other things. Yeah.
Okay. And were you diagnosed with it?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I wasn't diagnosed until um, I want to say like my first year up here, so the end of 2023. I had just came out of like 10-year homelessness with my kids, and we got our first place, and it was a really wild experience. And it was like a honeymoon phase for a couple months, and then going into 2024, something inside of me just kind of like broke, I guess. And I couldn't stop crying. And my life coach was like, hey, this is kind of past my certification here. I think you need to go get an evaluation because something's definitely wrong and you need some help. And so I did. I went to options out here in Southern Oregon, and listen, I've never met such helpful, nice white people, and that's saying something. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
ever in my
right.
life, like they're just so really understanding. Where I come from, I'm
Mhm.
just not. I'm just not used. We just avoid, because they're a different. They're a different type. But out here, they were very helpful, very understanding, and they made me feel really accepted.
Right.
Even while I'm, for 2 weeks, I've been sobbing. My eyes are puffy. You know what I mean? Like, it was wild. Like I couldn't speak to anybody about anything without crying. So after like 2 months of therapy, that kind of stopped. Weekly therapy, and then we
Mhm.
moved into like bi-weekly therapy, and then we moved back into weekly therapy just recently. Um, and yeah, so we were trying some things. We were trying some things that we thought might work, and you know, that wasn't it.
Right, right. Well, I understand that when you're especially dealing with medicine, it takes a while for it to get your body to get used to it. Then everybody's body is different. You can't just pass one pill to everybody and it works the same for everybody. Results may vary. So
Right.
is that's definitely important. The fact that you are actively working at it is definitely something to be attributed to you for putting in the work. It's definitely hard when you have these things. One of the hardest things to do is take the first step. Um, Once you take that first step, sometimes you can get some momentum with yourself, dig yourself out of a hole or whatever. But
Yeah.
sometimes that first step is the hardest. Getting out of bed, getting in the shower, making something to eat, go,
Absolutely.
go, going for a walk. Those things are difficult tasks when you're struggling with depression. So let me ask you, what is it like living with depression, or what does it feel like?
So, I mean, living with depression is, um, I don't even know how to describe it. Okay, well, I mean, I think it's difficult for me to describe what it is living with depression because I don't just live with depression.
Right,
I live with BPD, and one of my main symptoms is manic depression. Um, so living with BPD is more like you feel everything all at once and literally nothing at
right,
all at the same time. And it's really painful mentally because sometimes you don't know what to believe. You do absolutely have like delusional thoughts. Um, it's like you just feel so stuck in a place that you can't get out of. Like it's almost like quicksand, you know what I mean? Um or like tar, like being covered in tar. Yeah, being covered in tar is a good example. It's a really wild experience, because some days I'll wake up and be like, "Oh my god, this is the most normal I've ever felt. Maybe I'm fixed."
right.
Giggle, giggle, ha ha. Let's go do some amazing shit. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right, right,
and
right,
then other days I wake up and I go, "Oh my god, like what am I even doing here? Like I'm not even worth, this. I can't do it, you know what I mean? Like I can't function, I can't breathe, I can't move, I can't like organize a thought, you know what I mean? And then other days I'm just like I want to sleep and I want to do
right.
nothing but sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep, and then I'll get up and do it all over again. I think you came up with a really good description for that. I believe the trimester.
Right, right,
So yeah, it can be fun. It can be excruciating. It is never ending. It does not end. Um,
right,
which is why I thought that medication would help, would regulate it, and maybe it will. Maybe that just wasn't the right medication. You know what I mean? Because different strokes for different folks or whatever. But
right. Okay, cool, awesome. So you were diagnosed with this depression. You have actively been making efforts to improve upon the depression or the condition, these things that you, the BPD that you have issues with.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you have, some of the difficulties, like some experiences that you have dealing with this on a day to day basis, where it could prevent you from getting some tasks done, or it's interrupted some things that you have going on? What is that like?
Um, Quite literally, that has been my whole life. Being able to even hold down a job is a difficult task. People with my condition are technically classified as disabled, because we cannot fit, like, mentally, physically, like, we are incapable of being able to do things like, consistently get up and go to work every day and blah 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 blah. So I feel like, in working on it, I've kind of beat that. At least in this area, this is easy. I don't have to go talk to people in person, which is kind of where my main anxieties come from. You know what I mean? So,
Right, right.
yeah,
How about in terms of relationships? What is it like managing a relationship with depression?
extremely difficult. It is extremely difficult. There are, like, I'll say that there are more ups than there are downs, for me, but the downs are really really down. They can get really extreme. Um, not like, I mean, sometimes physically, not for me personally. I'm not a physical person. I'm a loud person. I get upset and I raise my voice, I yell, So um it makes it difficult because people don't hear you when you fucking yell at them, but there's, in the moment, my brain doesn't understand that there is any other way to communicate. So, being able to go to therapy and, you know, fix that shit is definitely been helpful. Like, getting those tools, you know what I mean?
Right, absolutely. Definitely tools are helpful when you're trying to get a job done or whatever. So with one of the things that we are discussing today is the difference in like women and men, because from my perspective, from my standpoint, male depression gets overlooked a little bit, a lot actually. No one is really checking on the guys, because men are kind of programmed, kind of conditioned to just handle whatever, deal with whatever, and get the job done. Just move
Right.
forward, suck it, throw some dirt on it, suck it up, go out there and get the job done, basically. And so,
Right.
and men have embraced that role. It's more so, don't nobody want no crybaby at dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there's nobody, a dude who's complaining all the time, or oh, woe is me, isn't looked at in the highest of regards. Um, and for females, it's a little bit different. I feel like, respectfully, of course, they get a little bit more sympathy in this regard. They get a little bit more attention in this regard.
I
I feel
absolutely
like
agree.
I feel like it is diagnosed earlier and quicker, so they're able to gain access to some of those tools a little bit faster. Where opposed to men, you could go undiagnosed, unnoticed for your entire life, and no one would know until you crash out, until you had a midlife crisis or something like that.
Right.
So with men, I think it's harder to pinpoint it, so it makes it a little bit harder to get those people the help that they need. There are signs of depression that aren't necessarily sadness. One of these things might be like being hypersexual. That may
Absolutely.
be, well, one of those things could be, one of those could be a sign of depression, or things that need to be addressed. Someone who is always sexual, male or female. But these are signs. Um, Not keeping a routine, having a bad, the not having the ability to like keep a routine, things like that. These are signs that aren't necessarily that you can go about your everyday life, but you aren't necessarily deemed as depressed. But if you're unable to like keep a schedule or keep things arranged or things like that, then these could possibly be signs of depression. Again, male or female.
Right.
So please go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with you.
Right, thank you. So that is whenever we're talking about relationships between whoever, um, when you're trying to uh, bond with a person, sometimes this can get in the way. What has your experience been like with when you're trying to build a relationship with one and with someone and trying to manage your depression?
That's a tough one because you know what I mean. Like, it takes everything in you already to manage it, and then you get into a relationship, especially like if you guys live together or something like that. Like, because then you can't hide forever. You know what I mean? Like, again, like I said last week, you wear this mask. You know what I mean, to cover the fact that you're even sad, and at the end of the day, like, it has to come off. Like, you got to take it off sometime. You know what I mean? You got to wash your face. You got to see yourself. You got to look in the mirror eventually. You know what I mean? So when you have someone that's always around you, like, the only thing that's helpful is if the person is someone that you feel like you can trust. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you have to be able to feel like you can let this person in, which is definitely hard for people who have BPD or even depression or different anxiety disorders, because it's hard for us to trust, because most of them were caused from like childhood trauma and all kinds of different things that we had gone through in life, or the way we were raised, or the way our parents talked to us, or the lack of love or lack of empathy that we got from them. You know what I mean? um, like, all of that plays a factor in how we are as adults and how we communicate in our relationships and things. So for me, it's like, for me it's very specific. I require a lot of attention. I require a lot of communication. I require a lot of patience, from the person that I'm with. And you can't just find that anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something that has to be built over time, through friendship, through people getting to know you, and you know, um, just building an understanding of you as a person, to be able to make something like that work. And it's never going to be easy, because this is not something that just goes away. It's not like I, again, can just take a pill and it's magically gone. You know what I mean? I just have to work with myself, and it's a choice every day on whether or not I'm going to use these tools that I'm given, that I'm seeking from my therapist, from my life coach, from my partner, from my friends, from my parents, my sisters, whoever. It's my choice in whether or not I use them to improve my life, or just let them be wasted. you know um, I try to stay away from any extra habits. I try to stay away from people who have extra habits. I don't really have very many people to talk to. So the ones that I do have, like, I treasure them dearly. Um, but I do fuck up. I do stupid shit, because with this condition, like, you're constantly going to have these weird feelings and these thoughts and these, ideas, and blah, 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 blah. And, some of them might have truth, and most of them probably will not. And you're just delusional as fuck. And it's just admitting that you are in those moments maybe not right, and that's hard to do. But again, that's where taking off the mask and being able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, okay, we know this isn't a right behavior. We know this isn't okay. So what do we got to do? You know, which one of these tools that has been given to me in life is going to help me get through this situation? And you know, the first one I will always pick up is yelling. so so there's that.
Right.
You know, and then we just kind of go from there. Like, okay, that didn't work. Let me antagonize a little bit. That didn't work. Let me poke the bear, you know. All right, well, let me just try to talk to him real quick, or, you know, like,
Right,
let
right,
me just put
right.
my fucking feet in his lap. Maybe, you know, maybe he'll just smile and we'll be okay, you know,
Hey,
just
look,
like
feet
whatever.
feet are the word of the week, man. Feet are the word. Feet is the word of the week.
Turning people out on them feet this week. So, yeah, yeah. So, you know,
Awesome.
again, like every relationship is different because every person is different, and it's just all about finding that within yourself, and whether or not you want to be better or feel better or do better. You know, it's not on you, it's in you.
Absolutely, totally, totally. So again, you make some really great points, man. You made some really great points. One of the terms that you used was masking. And you use the term masking and you described what it was like to one of the things you have to do is look in the mirror. And me personally, I feel like this is like fundamental. People struggle with looking in the mirror. And it's easier to put on a mask instead of confronting some of the things, some of the work that you have to do. Again,
Right.
everyone making that first step is the most difficult step. Everyone doesn't want to have to do the work, put in the work. No one want the vast majority don't want to have to put in the work. They want to
Right.
just get results. So whenever you have to take this accountability, take this effort, put it into yourself, apply it to yourself, give it time to manifest. You know, these things don't happen overnight. These are things that require energy, a high level of energy from you. And again, when you're already in this state, it's already difficult to take the first step. So you have to push yourself to take multiple steps. So,
Absolutely.
but the reward, in my opinion, is amazing. So just real quick, a little one of my early things that I taught myself was to try to find a positive in any situation. I feel like this small element used grew, it evolved like over the span of my life. Once
Mm-hmm.
I stopped looking at things from a negative perspective and tried my best to find the positive in everything, um, it really enlightens you to things. It opens up your mind to things, and you really completely see things from a different perspective. If you notice, a lot of people just have a negative outlook, like pessimistic. It's a term for it. Pessimistic. There's
Yes.
pessimistic. There's optimistic. Some people just look at things from a pessimistic point of view. Oh, I don't think you should do that. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna work out. You know, some people just
Mm-hmm.
look at things from a negative perspective. But if you just train your brain to look at things from a positive perspective, or try to find the positive element even in the most negative of situations, I think that this trains you to see things differently.
Yeah.
And it can be super helpful. So shout out to you for the work that you're putting into yourself.
Thank
I
you.
know that again, like I said, whenever you're putting this work into yourself, it requires a high level of self reflection. It requires a super high level of self reflection, and that's difficult to do. To point out the flaws within you. You know, you can point out the flaws to everyone else easily. You
Right.
know, it's easy. It's easy to point out the flaws in everyone else, but you can't see you. You know, like you can't see yourself from the outside, you know,
Right.
how everyone else sees you. So it's a little bit harder to pinpoint the things that you need to work on, which
Mm-hmm.
again, why diagnosis is very important. I'm a strong supporter of therapy. Just for the sole purpose of getting a second opinion. Even if you feel confident in yourself and you feel like you got everything figured out, it's never wrong to get a second opinion. Two heads are always better than one. So I strongly encourage, if you are struggling with these things, if this is something that you are working on, or you want to work on, I strongly suggest speaking with a professional, um, um, getting some therapy, just so you can have someone to get some things off your chest about. Really quick,
Absolutely.
one more thing I wanted to touch bases on, as we get into a little bit more fun topic. Um, you were saying one of the issues is not just building relationships, but also building friendships. You were saying, like, you don't have a large variety of friends, or
Right.
only a handful or so. So what is it? What is it about friendships as opposed to relationships that make them difficult to build?
Simply the fact that like you just don't know who you can trust in moments of like, a manic attack, the paranoia of who is really your friend, who really loves you, who doesn't, you know what I mean? We just as uh as with BPD, we just don't feel love the same way, which is why most people with BPD will repeatedly, tell the people around them that they love them. You know what I mean? That's a childhood trauma response. So yeah, it's
Right.
it's just a thing that we have to kind of repetitively build. It takes time.
Right, definitely. All of it takes time. It's not something that definitely happens overnight. Like I said, some people can go their entire lives without a diagnosis, and uh they won't even know. They'll just go through life and have an event, and then they'll be uh having to look into it from that standpoint, as opposed to taking a proactive approach to it,
Right.
which we definitely will want to look into. So, gaming is a way a lot of people combat depression.
Mhm.
It's an escape from reality. That's in my opinion why the gaming community is so big. People don't want to have to deal with the everyday pressures of life all the time, and they want to just escape, play some games, veg out for a couple of hours before they have to get back into the real world. But even when you use gaming as an escape for depression, it can still trigger elements of your depression. For example, as you were just saying, it's hard to just build friendships.
Right.
Gaming is more fun when you do it with friends. No one wants to play solos all the time.
Right.
Sometimes you want to have some companionship, have someone playing there with you, things like that. What's it like finding a gaming partner, just someone to play the game with, um, whenever you're ready to play it? What's that like?
I mean, I most of the time they're already playing with someone. So, and
Mhm.
you end up, like feeling bad, like requesting to join or messaging them to be like, "Hey, are you on?" or something, cuz like you see they're in a squad. You don't want to be intrusive or whatever. Or at least, for me. I don't know about anybody else. Other people just spam invite, they don't care. But it's just hard to kind of find people to vibe with anyway. So, you know like people that can just accept my weirdness, or the fact that sometimes I'm more aggressive than a girl should probably be in a video game, or that I say really inappropriate shit, and I don't mean that like I'm flirting with you or anything. It's just kind of how my personality is, you know what I mean? I just say kind of outrageous shit, So,
Right.
being able to find people that just kind of can understand me and respect those boundaries, you know what I mean, is kind of different. um, from just like normal friends in life. Like they get used to it, or they don't like you immediately, and you don't have to deal with it. So it's like a
So, so I know for girls, whenever they come in, well, so let me start with this. I know it's evolved some. I don't know what it's like playing as a girl or from the girl perspective, but I know that before, girls used to have it rough in the gaming community.
yeah,
A lot of kitchen jokes, from
yeah.
what I
A lot of make me sandwiches and go
a
bake me
lot
a
of make me
cakes. Yeah.
sandwich jokes. I hear those early Call of Duty lobbies. Those
Uh huh.
2015 Call of Duty lobbies were crazy.
Oh yeah.
But but so I know like when girls come into like the gaming space or they come into a lobby, especially if it's filled with guys, that can be an experience within itself. I
Oh,
know that can totally
absolutely.
be I know that can totally be an experience within itself. And another thing that you mentioned was being flirty.
Yes.
So do what is that like?
Being flirty or the response to being flirty?
The response to being flirty.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends because you get flirty most of the time. Like 98% of the time, you
Right.
get flirty. It's just when you kind of flirt back, it either automatically goes to a level where you're either like send me pictures of your nipples or
Mm,
they're complete opposite and they'll just be like super shy and they'll like stop talking. So wide range for sure, wide range. You fixed it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry about that. I
You're
apologize
good.
about
You're good. Yeah, so I mean most of the time the response is very much like show me your butthole type, you know what I mean, like immediately.
that. Right.
Like that's the
Right.
immediate response. Unsolicited D pics, like, you know, it's like I can't even just like giggle at them slightly, and they're just like, oh. You know what I mean? Oh
so
shit.
it's either so it's either go make me a sandwich or show me your butthole.
Yeah, it's either go make me a sandwich or show me your butthole. I have
So
found very few in between, very few
right,
that I've
right.
just been like cool with. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, it's one or the other.
Right, got you, got you. So I know that can be an experience whenever you're trying to just find someone to play with, find someone to game with, find someone to hang out with. The gaming space is predominantly male, or it had been for a very long time. Of course, as
Mhm.
I said, females have evolved within the space. They've they've increased their footprint here in the space in the gaming space.
Mhm.
But females get treated a lot differently. You know, with guys,
Of
it's just,
course.
hey, you know, can you hit your shots? Basically, you know, if you can hit
Right.
your shots, it's pretty cool. But as a girl, you know, everyone wants to see your butthole, basically.
Basically.
So
Yeah.
I can understand how those relationships are a little bit difficult. So what's it like when you find someone to play with, where you can text them, hey, get on the game, and they come, or you can, you know, what's it like finding your duo or finding, you know, your crew, your squad to play with? What's that like?
Uh I mean, I have a couple people that'll pop up in mind, but the first two that I wanna shout out is Busy Bangin' and I want to shout out Pickle. Both of those people, like regardless of the situations that we have been through in the time that we've known each other, if I ever called them and said I just need to fucking game and vent and like I need a guy's opinion, like they were right there, and it wasn't any show me your buttholes, and it wasn't any you know like weird shit. It was just what I needed to talk about, and what I was going through, and advice from a guy's perspective, and shit like that. So like finding a crew of people is difficult, but if you can find one or two, like that to me is enough. You know what I mean? So like I may not always be cool with them or talk to them or whatever, but like I know if I ever really needed these people, they would absolutely be there. So that it's a good feeling, especially because most of the time, people who are, going through depression and stuff, they already feel really alone, and they already feel like if I call somebody, they're not even going to answer, or like I don't matter or whatever. And having those people that will always pick up the phone no matter what, no matter who they're talking to, no matter what, because they never know like what you're going through, because at a moment's notice you can be manic and you can be suicidal, or you can be whatever. And it just feels really good being able to have reliable people. And then of course you, but like you're always first anyway.
Right, right.
But we don't play together as often, so when we're
Well,
when
well,
we're
I mean,
talking about like in the game, you know what I mean, having someone to play with, it would be those two. Like in life, you, bees, Amanda, top three.
right. Yeah, totally, totally. So I mean, we've uh been playing together for a while. And so we've also been in a relationship.
Mm.
So what has that been like?
That's been a roller coaster, you guys. I'll tell you, this shit's better than Ozempic.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the joke for the rest of our lives. I swear to God,
Right, right.
better than Ozempic. I'll say that.
So let me just say, what did it what did it develop like? What was it like meeting me and starting to play with me and developing a relationship? Like, what was, just give me like a little bit of that kind of process. What was that like?
Well, I mean, we met in a group. I remember that. We met in a group, and we just kind of started talking and playing. I think at the time you were doing like a certain contract with your quote unquote fake ass job. Hashtag fake job. Get out right
Pass the
now.
big job.
Right now. I am so sorry. um yeah, so we started playing, and there was really no communication because you mean you worked like on calls like and stuff like that, so I just get to play with you, and you were really hard to keep up with, and you were really really sweaty, and I was a bot. So there's that, and then we did develop communication outside of that, and the friendship kind of went from there. And I think that's kind of what led into us being in a relationship, was because we had already developed that foundation of friendship before, and you know kind of knew how to work with each other already.
Right, right. So I mean, people are always looking for friendships online. They're looking for
Hmm.
like, they would love to find like a relationship online, or what type of advice would you give someone who is seriously looking for like their duo?
Don't look, let it come to you, because I mean
Right.
you're gonna find people that you vibe with inadvertently through the people that you already vibe with. So if you're out there and I mean, obviously, like networking yourself, getting out there and meeting people is a thing, but like don't specifically look for that, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Just be yourself and vibe, and building that friendship and building that bond, like it's going to come regardless. It just naturally happens, and you just got to kind of flow with it. You know what I mean? You can't force things. You can't make anyone feel anything. You just have to continue to be yourself and continue to build that foundation of friendship. And if it's meant to be, it's going to happen.
Right. So when you're gaming, sometimes, well, a lot of times you're gaming with people who aren't necessarily in your area or in your vicinity. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Um, what's it what's it like managing a long distance relationship with someone that you share a bond with over gaming, you communicate with daily, but the connection you're far away from each other. What's that like?
I mean, it's difficult for sure. Most of the time you're just like the bond and the conversation is usually always really good. You know what I mean? And the only thing you miss is like the physical touch, you know. And that can be hard because like in our situation, like I'm all the way over here on the west coast, you know what I mean, and you're all the way the fuck over there on the east coast.
Mm,
And so like being able to feel your fucking feet on my feet, like, you know what I mean, like just those thoughts is like fuck, like those are the ones that drive you to just like either want to be closer or want to push for more so you can get closer, or whatever. And sometimes you just have to understand that like everything comes with time, and it's going to make you cherish those moments so much more when you finally get there.
right, right, absolutely. So, uh, dealing with like long distance, dealing with depression, dealing with uh, wanting to find that connection, um, the not having the physical contact, things like that. Those things can play a part into you withdrawing even further.
Mhm.
So, what is it? What do you try your best to do when battling this in a relationship or in a situation? Because things don't always necessarily um, play out the way you want them to. They don't necessarily always play out the way emotions get involved, feelings get
Mhm.
involved, things like that. You're coming to game to get away from the daily stresses, things like that. You develop these friendships, you develop these relationships, these sexual relationships,
Mhm.
these emotional relationships, things like that. But then still at the end of the day, you're still having trouble taking this mask off, and dealing with yourself, because at the end of the day you still have to go to bed at night. You still have to go to bed alone at night.
Mhm.
You still have this connection with this person, but at the end of the day you're still there by yourself. What do you feel about that?
I feel like that's just the shittiest part of being in a long distance relationship. But again, if the bond, if the friendship, if everything else is there, then the wait is going to end up being worth it. But you asked in the beginning like what the hardest thing is for me to deal with in that type of situation, in the long distance, in the all of that. I feel like it's the trusting. The trusting is hard for me. The trusting that I'm being communicated to properly, or being told the truth even, or half truths, or um, just am I reading the room correctly? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's really hard to even over video feel, because when you have feelings versus men who are logical thinkers, it's hard to kind of bridge that gap.
Right.
It's difficult to get someone who is a logical thinker to understand the concept of a feeling, and the effect that it has on a person and their entire thinking process, speaking process, way of feeling, way of vibing with you. It can be really difficult. So the trusting is definitely a thing. And I would say that if you have difficulty with trusting, that just doing like some type of communication exercises, or asking questions about how your person will be receptive to those type of conversations, or I mean, shit, I will exhaust every possible option to try to get a person to understand that when I say, like, I feel like you did this, I'm not attacking you. I just need you to understand my perspective so you understand my thought process, and we can find a solution so this doesn't happen again, type of thing. um, I don't always go about it the right way. I absolutely don't.
Well,
Eh,
like I said before, you're putting in the effort, so that's definitely amazing.
Thank you.
Um, the last topic we're gonna cover, with as in relation to this is the time being spent when you're in a relationship. When you're in a relationship with a gamer, gamers like myself, we spend a lot of time on the game. We
Yeah.
spend a lot of time on the game, a lot of time playing the game. Um, I know that it can be advantageous when you find your person when you all game together a lot. If you have a person who's a gamer who games a lot, hours and hours, you're
Hmm.
able to game with them for hours and hours, and that connection is still very, very strong. I know that can be advantageous, but
Hmm.
that's not always the case, though. That's not always the case.
Mm-mm.
Uh, Sometimes a partner might not be a gamer. Your partner might not be a gamer, or your partner might not play the same game you play, or for whatever reason you and your partner don't game together all the time, or every time you play.
Right.
What's it like, um, having a gamer as a partner, and they're spending a lot of time on the game
It can be difficult as a girl.
as a
Even
girl?
as a gamer girl, it can be difficult because, like, and I know I've told you this, so you know what I'm about to say. I just feel like if you spend so much time surrounding yourself in these areas, and with social media and on your game and with all of these other people, if you have a significant other that is in your presence or even not in your presence, like, there has to be a time that you separate everything else from that one person. At least, if for guys, like, this is my advice to guys, right? And I know some of you aren't going to agree. uh so you just have to separate that time. You know what I mean? You have to give her that time. You know, a flower is only going to grow and bloom when it's given water and sun. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to pour into the things that you care about. If you're not pouring into the things that you care about, and they're always pouring into you, eventually the energy drain instead of energy transfer is going to have a huge effect. Versus, if you had just took the time to say, you know, maybe this bitch is right, and maybe I could put my phone down and just, snuggle her thighs and feel her feet on my feet, and, maybe
Yo,
live in the lake of
what's up with the
Minnetonka.
feast this week, bro?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, feet are a thing this week. You started it. Like, that shit spread like wildfire.
All right.
But I mean,
Right.
what does everybody say when they go to bed? I'm finna go to bed and rub my feet together. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
If if
Absolutely,
if
absolutely.
you
I get
sleep
it. I
next
get it.
to somebody, you finna rub your feet on their feet, especially
Right,
if they're
right,
cold.
right. Absolutely. So I understand that even as a gamer, even though if you spend hours on the game, you still want to get that time in with your person. It's definitely important. You don't want that person to feel neglected, or feel like you don't want to spend time with them, or that the game is more important than them. Even, and I know you say it from a girl perspective, but it's not just from a girl perspective. It's also from a male perspective. If you're a gamer, dude, and your girl gives more attention to the game than she does to you, I'm sure that can be also just as disheartening.
Hmm.
You want to make sure that you give your partner some time and energy as well. Watch a movie. You know what I'm saying? Go for a walk.
Right.
Something like that. You want to make sure that you get that time in with your partner, even if you have to schedule it. Even if you have to schedule that time, you need to make sure that that's a priority. You can't just game, and not spend any time outside of the game. So those are things that you just want to give some attention to. I think we covered like a lot of positive things today. Again, if you're having like these issues or these thoughts or these feelings, um, first, I highly go with seeking a professional to discuss these things with, so that they can get you on the path to getting some access to some tools, so that you can start putting some work in. Again, the first step is the hardest step for sure, but you want to make sure that you get yourself to taking that first step so you can start putting one foot in front of the other. As far as like dealing with like relationships and things like that, Ginger's advice for us was to just be yourself, man. Like when you're trying to develop these relationships and develop these friendships and develop these bonds, you know, even if you feel like you're a quirky person or you have a weird personality or everyone doesn't get your funny, still just be yourself, because if they don't get your funny, they're not meant to be your friends. So just be yourself. Make sure that you stay genuine to yourself. We talked about the work that we have to do with unmasking. Whenever you're unmasking, you want to make sure that you're looking within yourself, so that you can analyze yourself, so that you can do the work that you need to do. You can pinpoint exactly the issues that you need to address so that you can do the work you do need to do. And when you do, and you find that person, and you all are gaming and having fun and sharing ooh woos and emojis, and y'all flying across the country to see each other, make sure that you spend some time with them as well whenever you're not gaming. Make sure you're giving them some attention so that this can help you develop a positive relationship. So as always, I want to thank Big Mama for co-hosting this podcast with me, our episode 2. Um,
Absolutely.
do you want to leave the people with any last words or anything?
You guys, like, looking at yourself in the mirror is not a bad thing. Like, don't be afraid to take off your mask. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to talk to people, and find your people. Please put yourselves out there. If you guys are going through things, just understand that you're really not alone. If you don't believe me, just come to my stream on a random Saturday night. I'm probably going to be there crying my woes out to you, and you'll get it. You know what I mean? You guys are amazing. You're incredible people. Um, and I'm so grateful to be able to hold the position that I hold here. And I thank you guys for always supporting me every day. So W motherfucking FNG.
W motherfucking FNG. Thank you guys so much for being here, for being in attendance, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. WFNG.
Bye.
Bye.